So the only thing missing from the WNBA to the NBA game is the dunk. So imagine, I'm not saying lower it to 9 feet or 8 feet.
Just so they can dunk.
So they can dunk.
So it's more of a show. There's a few that dunk, but not consistently. Make it more of the.
I'm not so concerned about the comparisons of Shaq to Bill Russell necessarily, that to the extent that it becomes a different game, that there's three-point shooting in one era, there's not in another. I think we have to remain contemporary. At the same time, I think we have to be true to the game of basketball. There are certain things, you know, that your 4-point shots, things like that, which strike me as gimmicky. But on the other hand, I think potentially moving a 3-point line. I mean, if you go back, you know, I think it was Red Auerbach thought, you know, it was the end of basketball when the 3-point shot was added. And it took several, you know, years, if not well longer than a decade, before teams really started changing the game.
Shaq snapped, and he did it live on air with zero script, zero filter, and all fire aimed straight at Adam Silver. He dropped Silver's name right there on the broadcast, and the vibe instantly flipped. You could literally see Silver's face turn red, his jaw lock up, and the embarrassment pouring off him like sweat in a sauna. He never thought anyone would call him out like that. And definitely not Shaq on camera in front of millions. Now that clip, it's everywhere. TikTok's losing its mind, ESPN keeps replaying it, and WNBA Reddit is breaking down every single frame. But here's the twist. This wasn't just some random Shaq meltdown. This was years of bottled up frustration finally blowing the lid off. And the name that lit the fuse? Brittney Griner. Brittney should be celebrated as a legend right now, a warrior who gave her body, her sweat, and her prime years to the game. Instead of a hero's farewell, the league treated her like she was nothing. No spotlight, no flowers, no real recognition. Shaq wasn't blind to it. He saw straight disrespect, and that was the last straw. The headlines should be blasting her comeback, her leadership, her impact on the sport. But all she's gotten is cold silence from the league office, like they'd rather delete her from the history books than honor her name. And Shaq? He wasn't about to sit there quiet. He ripped it wide open with no mercy, putting Silver on blast for the whole world to see. With Brittney, it wasn't honesty. It was straight-up silence. The league zipped its lips like if they stayed quiet long enough, the whole problem would disappear. But silence doesn't stay hidden for long. Whispers turned into full-blown rumors. The WNBA was ready to cut ties with her. And here's the wild part. It had nothing to do with her skills. No dip in performance, no career-ending injuries, nothing like that. The talk on the streets? The suits at the top labeled Brittney too controversial to keep around. That's when Shaq finally snapped and said, enough. He's never been one to hide behind PR scripts or fake smiles. Shaq stays raw, uncut, and never bites his tongue. And if you've been watching for years, you already know his relationship with Adam Silver has always been shaky. Respect? Maybe. Trust? That bridge burned a long time ago. Shaq has shown the world time and time again just how little faith he's got in the commissioner. So when word broke about Brittney being pushed out, while Silver was busy grinning for cameras, bragging about expansion and the future of the league, Shaq wasn't having it. He went live on Instagram, no pause, no hesitation, and he didn't just toss shade, he dropped the man's name. Staring straight into the lens, Shaq called Adam Silver out directly and demanded answers about how the league could treat a star who gave her everything like she was disposable. And the way Shaq laid it out hit harder than any dunk. Don't talk to me about growing the sport if you can't even protect the people who built it. That wasn't anger. That was betrayal dripping through every word. Fans watching felt it deep because he was saying what everyone already knew was true. That's why the moment didn't just trend. It detonated, landing right as Silver was patting himself on the back for his expansion hype. Normally, this should have been a history-making moment for the league. Billion-dollar meetings on deck, new cities battling for franchises, fresh markets promising more shine for players. On paper, this was supposed to be the start of a whole new era. Expansion is meant to scream growth, opportunity, and hype like never before. But the timing? Straight up disastrous. Just hours before the champagne glasses were clinking, insiders started buzzing that Brittney Griner wasn't just sitting on the bench, she was being flat out pushed out. Quiet phone calls, leaked memos, and backroom whispers started slipping through the cracks, and none of it had anything to do with her game. It was all politics, image control, and corporate pressure from the suits upstairs. So while Adam Silver was up on stage flashing smiles and hyping up the league's bright future, one of the most iconic names in women's basketball was being shoved out the side door with zero recognition.
Good morning, Brittney. I'm Bill Roden from ESPN and Escape. It's really great to see you. It's good to know the prayers have been answered. The question, you've always represented so much throughout your entire career about access and, being able to do stuff. And I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but there are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that? You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for, athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes, to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are or like it's just all eyes on them. So I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason.
And for Shaq, that was the last straw. Now, if you've caught the viral clip on Twitter or TikTok, you already know the vibe. Shaq wasn't cracking jokes or chasing clout. His whole face told the story. The goofy energy was gone, his tone was sharp, and the message was ice cold. He wasn't playing games this time. Then came the line that shook the internet. Shaq locked eyes with the camera and said it plain. "If this is how you treat Brittney, I don't even want to know what you do to someone without a name." Fans felt that like a punch to the gut. The air went dead quiet because everyone knew those words weren't just heat. That was raw truth spilling out in real time. That line Shaq dropped, it froze Adam Silver on the spot. You could literally see him stop mid-clap back like the words sucked the oxygen straight out of the room. In that moment, the whole narrative flipped. This wasn't just about Brittney anymore. It was about the WNBA's soul, its respect for players, and whether the league's so-called loyalty had been alive from day one. And the craziest part? Silver had nothing. No slick comeback, no polished PR spin, just silence. And that silence screamed louder than anything he could have said. But the blaze didn't end there. The real explosion came right after the live. Within minutes, WNBA fans flooded Instagram stories with clips of Shaq's rant, blasting it everywhere like wildfire. Then the players joined in, and not just the rookies or bench warmers, but the vets, the ones with the stripes to speak without fear. Some dropped the clip raw, no captions needed, while others added blunt lines that hit deep, saying out loud what they'd been holding in for years. And the wildest part? They were united. No back and forth, no splits. Everybody agreed the WNBA had been in desperate need of a wake-up call, and Shaq was the one ringing the bell. That alone gave the whole thing heavyweight credibility the league couldn't brush off. Then it spilled out of the WNBA bubble. NBA stars started chiming in too. Some with quiet shade, others swinging with full force, calling the league out like they didn't care whose toes they stepped on. The divide was happening live, right in front of fans, while the suits upstairs watched the walls close in. You could feel the panic creeping through the offices, because this wasn't just a rant anymore. This was a movement on fire, and the fans were digging up every dirty receipt the league tried to bury. Adam Silver's silence, plus the WNBA's weak one-liners, only poured gasoline on the fire. The expansion hype that was supposed to distract fans, it blew up in his face. TikTok comment sections turned ruthless. ESPN live chats on YouTube got hijacked with walls of free Brittney comments, and the outrage wasn't slowing down, it was multiplying. Fans weren't just heated, they were mobilizing. Some even called for a flat-out boycott of the WNBA until somebody at the top finally stepped up. One furious fan wrote, "Boycott the WNBA, don't support abuse and racism." Another clapped back even harder, It's time to boycott the All-Star game.
Major sports change all the time. You mentioned the NBA. The three-point debate this year, I feel like, has gotten furious, and it's lasted for like 2 months. One thing that I hear people suggest is maybe get rid of the sideline threes because they're actually closer. When it comes to changing a game and changing the rules, it does seem like it's a little bit different when you're changing the actual playing surface or the court. When you sit in a room, do you expect that to get contested and to get heated? And how do you balance keeping history, but also maybe making alterations that could improve the game?
This league is a joke, should be thrown in the trash and shut down for good. Those words were sharp and they spread across feeds like wildfire. But here's the kicker. That wasn't even the ugliest fallout. Sponsors started sweating bullets. One major partner reportedly hit pause on a big WNBA promo rollout, holding everything until they could get clarity. Another quietly scrubbed Brittney's face from their website. Not because they were against her, but because they were terrified of being dragged into a PR nightmare. Fans saw it instantly, and the silence from sponsors felt like betrayal. Instead of courage, it looked like corporate cowardice, and that only cranked the outrage higher. Then fans started connecting dots, realizing Shaq had been warning about this for years. Back in 2021, after another WNBA player spoke out about abuse behind closed doors, Shaq dropped a chilling line on a TNT broadcast. Protect the players. No matter what league at the time, people brushed it off like big picture talk. But now, that clip is back in rotation, and fans are treating it like evidence that Shaq already knew the disrespect ran deep, and that the league turned its back anyway. The narrative flipped overnight. This stopped being just about Brittney and turned into a spotlight on the WNBA's whole culture. How players are treated, how the league's dirt keeps getting swept under the rug, and how long they thought they could hide it. And the fact that Shaq had been dropping breadcrumbs for years? That made it cut even deeper. Fans felt like the league's dirty laundry had finally been dragged out into the open, and now the world was actually watching. Fans turned into detectives, stitching together old clips, digging up receipts, piecing timelines like it was a true crime case. Suddenly, it's obvious. Shaq wasn't just running his mouth, he's been sitting on this knowledge for years. And now that he finally said it raw and uncut, people feel like the curtain's been yanked back, and the picture behind it is ugly. And this is where the nightmare really begins for Adam Silver. For years, his brand has been the progressive commissioner, the guy who listens, evolves, and stands with players. That polished rep was his calling card. But now, that image is cracking fast, because when legends from both the NBA and WNBA are lining up to say enough, his silence doesn't look strong. It looks weak, and worse, it looks guilty. To fans, Silver's silence screams one ugly message. Maybe he doesn't care at all. And without even meaning to, Shaq just triggered a chain reaction the league can't stop. This is way bigger than Brittney now. This is about accountability, transparency, and whether a billion-dollar empire cares more about polishing its shiny image than protecting the players who built it. And here's what stings the most. Brittney hasn't directly spoken on all this. Her silence feels heavy, almost louder than words. But in a sit-down with Cam Newton, she finally gave a glimpse into how she's really feeling, admitting how heartbreaking it is that the league fails to protect its own players. Her voice wasn't fiery, it was soft, almost defeated. And for fans, that hit harder than any headline, because it sounded like a truth she'd been carrying for way too long. Even in that interview, you could see Brittney carefully choosing her words, like she was walking on eggshells. She was being real, but still holding back, like she didn't want to step on the wrong toes. And that sparked the big question: what kind of pressure is she under when the cameras go off? Is she being silenced? Is she scared to go all in because the league holds her future in its grip? Fans think so. Ever since Shaq's clip went viral, every little move Brittney makes has been magnified, and the vibe is crystal clear. There's way more happening behind the curtain than the public's being told. Whispers from people close to her claim Brittney feels completely used, betrayed, and abandoned by the very league she carried. She was the face when nobody else wanted that smoke. The one who kept it steady through chaos, sacrifice, and controversy. And now, after everything she poured into the game, this is her thank you? Cast aside, treated like baggage, with no honor for her years of sweat, grind, and loyalty. Even if some people didn't agree with how Brittney handled every moment in the past, one thing is clear: this is not how you treat a veteran. It feels less like a league protecting its own and more like one trying to erase a legend before she even gets the chance to tell her side. And now here we are, the storm at full force. Shaq blasted Adam Silver with no mercy. The players stood behind it. Fans are demanding answers. Sponsors are pulling back in fear, and the media sharks are circling non-stop. But who stayed stone-cold silent through it all? Adam Silver. No apology, no clarification, not even the generic, "we're looking into it." Nothing. His silence isn't just loud, it's deafening, and it's making the fire rage even hotter. Because here's the ugly truth. When leadership vanishes, the people fill the gap. Fans, players, and reporters start creating their own storylines. And the one being written right now is brutal. The league doesn't care about women. The league doesn't care about players. The only thing it protects is the cash flow. And the rest? Even the legends? Tossed aside the second they threaten the brand's shiny image? That's why this moment is so dangerous for the WNBA. This isn't some drama you can clean up with a tweet or patch over with a glossy commercial. This hole is too deep, and Silver's silence is only digging it deeper by the hour. And here's the wildest twist. This didn't come from a whistleblower, an investigative journalist, or even from Brittney herself. That would have been easy to spin away. No, the bomb got dropped by Shaq, a man who's seen the game from every angle. Unstoppable player, TV analyst, outspoken owner, and cultural icon. That credibility makes this scandal impossible to sweep under the rug, because when Shaq speaks, the world listens. And right now, his words are echoing louder than any press release the league could dream of writing. And when Shaq says, "This ain't right," the whole world pays attention. That's why the million-dollar question still hangs heavy. Why hasn't Adam Silver said a single word? He can't run from this forever. Expansion talks, shiny new franchises, hyped up futures, none of that matters until he faces what happened with Brittney. Because until he steps up, every spotlight the league tries to shine is just gonna feel like shade. And here's the wild part. This saga, it's nowhere near finished. The silence at the top is only feeding the flames, and fans, players, and media aren't letting it fade anytime soon. The league thought they were controlling the narrative, but now the narrative is controlling them. So what's your take? Is Adam Silver keeping quiet because the truth would crush the league's polished image? Or is this finally the moment where fans push hard enough to force real change? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you siding with Shaq, Brittney, or the league scrambling to save face? Don't forget, smash that like button, share this video everywhere, hit subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss the next drop. Click the video on your screen right now, and we'll see you in the next one.